Good evening from Taunton, and good evening from me, Dr. Dermot Hudson, the chairman of the Korean Friendship Association of the UK, and of course the chairman of the British group for the study of the Juche idea. But I'm here today as KFA chairman. I hope that everybody can hear clearly. If you can't hear, please put a comment in the comments. And here with me is
Hello, good evening from Taunton, south of England. Dr. Dermot Hudson joined me today to have a together joining live stream. I am Alan Bolon, KFI Organization Secretary.
yes, and also head of KFA West of England and editor of our online downloadable PDF journal, People's Career Today. Yeah, I mean, I'm here today in the west of England, the far west of England, Taunton, which is the county town of Somerset. It's got a bit of history behind it, Taunton has. And I'm here today because KFA UK is not just about London. People make a big mistake and say, "Ooh, KFA UK, ooh, that's just London. Ooh, I can't get involved. They don't have anything outside London." That's not true. We're very much committed to holding meetings outside London and to developing regional branches and activities in the region. And our KFA UK West of England branch goes right back to 2020 or autumn 2020 when it was formed. We've had a couple of meetings here in Taunton. It's also got its own Facebook page. And we've organised other activities outside London, such as we've had meetings in Stoke-on-Trent, in Liverpool, a really good meeting in Liverpool, really great militant working class vibe up in Liverpool. And we're planning activities in Scotland. Anyway, Alan's going to say a few words about KFA West of England and also why we're actually doing this as a live stream rather than a real life meeting.
Well, the first idea we were planning to have a presentation with my lecture and another speech and lecture from Dr. Dermot on renting hired room, which was on the Albemarle Center in my town. Unfortunately, any meeting, anything organized at these hours, evening hours, is not possible. That's the reason why we're doing the live stream, not lecture in the room with big room with more people. Unfortunately, here that's what told us the owner of this Albemarle Center, which is the owner of this room, conference room. Any meeting on evening hours is not possible. I don't know what is the reason, and it's health and safety or just the rules how they run. It's not possible to organize any lecture, anything on the evening hours. That's why we decide together to have a live stream. Any other time, which will be not weekly day, like is today Tuesday, is possible to organize any lecture in west of England here in my town earlier time, like afternoon or even morning, but it must be done when it's weekend, when people can come in. We were afraid if we organize that too late, there will be problem to come in from people working. We understand many of you working till late, and when they coming, they are tired or just have a different questions, different issues to do. So when if we going to plan have a organize a meeting, we try to do on the weekend and maybe afternoon hours, not too late, not too early.
Yes, that's good idea because the time offered by the this community centre an afternoon of a weekday seemed totally impractical, as a lot of people would actually be at work. Really, I think real life meetings are better organised in the evening, like we did in Liverpool, where we had a very successful meeting. Good atmosphere, or during a weekend. Probably ideally a Saturday afternoon, maybe Saturday night, possibly a Sunday, but you can't organise uh, meet meetings on a sort of afternoon
Mm.
of a working day. It's just not on. I mean, it illustrates the kind of obstacles that KFA has thrown in its way. I mean, we've found that hiring venues for meetings is incredibly expensive.
Mm.
I think a lot of meeting venues in the UK don't really offer value for money. They're too expensive for what they are. And it may interest people to know that we actually got banned by the Quakers. Uh, that is the so-called uh, Society of Friends, religious organisation, nothing to do with Quaker Oats, or maybe they really are. Maybe they do really own Quaker Oats. I don't know. But back in 2019, we tried to book venues from the Quakers uh, in Manchester and in Glasgow, and we got told that we were banned from doing so, uh, from hiring venues, and in Glasgow they just got a point blank refusal. And this is because the elite, the establishment, don't want you to hear the truth about people's career. That's why they, are denying us the right to hire rooms. That's why.
To try and find any excuse, any different excuse that the policy doesn't allow, the health and safety doesn't allow. They're trying to find any excuse to not giving us the opportunity and chance to organize anything, to say the truth about people's career. That's the true reasons.
Yes, exactly. That's right. Uh, so, um, so, Alan, would you like to use this opportunity to say a few things about KFA UK West of England?
Well, Current Financial Association UK West of England is the branch of the main one, KFA UK. The mostly what we're doing, we are republishing all the posts on Facebook from Koran Central News Agency. Also, here is the editorial committee of People's Quran Today. Here is done all the work for monthly journal in West of England, which is publishing on the all over all the branches of UK. Um, Quran Friendship Association West of England cover also Bristol, so they have members too. We planning in future maybe organize bigger event in Bristol, or any bigger town than Taunton, like Plymouth or Bristol. Koran Friendship Association UK branch West of England, like Dr. Dermot said before, been create with page on the Facebook on 2020 or 21, if I remember. So is running well couple years already, more than couple years, and since beginning was the idea to create People's Quran Today, our journal. Been already organized few meetings here in Taunton with my lecture and Dr. Dermot too. Is running well, and we have a perspective. We have a plans to running to have more members, and I hope that will be realizing the new 2025 now. What we have.
Yes. Thank you, Alan. I believe once a local newspaper in Somerset, if I remember rightly, carried an article attacking the DPRK.
Yes, there was not only one. I personally not buying the press from UK, but the place when I work, I funding of people who live there, and I always analyze which articles there. And I found it a couple times articles hostile, quite hostile, and saying untrue lies about people's Korea, which was very useful for me because I use that to write counter article which been published on People's Korea today. So that what Dr. Dermot mentioned now. There was article in locally press, very small locally press. They trying to create the picture of DPOK like a place where is no democracy, there is overall regime and things so on, things like that. There was comparative to how the running councils, and they completely has no idea, out of sense. That's what was in the article. They saying they have no impact to do anything in the POK, and they showing actually the council how is running in Somerset. That is very well, blah blah blah, things like that. Completely nonsense. I prepare cont article which been published in People's Korea today, debunk all the lies, all the things, and showing their democracy, freedom, people's democracy, and everything for people by people is not here in the UK as they want to show, but in the DPOK.
Yeah, I mean, it's very correct what you're saying. It's interesting. Now, do you know what percentage of people in Taunton actually vote in the elections, in the local election for the council?
In my opinion, there wasn't much because people lost the trust and people not been interested about this election even.
Yeah,
In my place, when I meet the people there at work, they've been saying it's not gonna to change anything, and which is true. Taunton was and is still running by Tories. There is central praise, secret praise of Tories party, and as we know, Tories failed in the election. So that's giving them even example that people don't believe anymore for them plans, them promises which are empty anyway.
yes, that's very true. And in contrast to Taunton, in the DPRK, 100% of people vote in elections, which shows that the people have confidence and faith in the people's government in the DPRK. There's no alienation in the DPRK like you see in Taunton. And I've been we've been walking around Taunton today. Can you say in People's Korea, as we all know, housing is free? The DPRK has carried out massive housing developments last year, like Hwasong Street, which I actually saw with my own eyes, and that is given to people free of charge. It's something incredible. Now, what sort of rent would you have to pay in Taunton, which is actually somewhere very far from London? It's taken me 5 hours on the bus to get here to Taunton.
I can give one example of one of my friend who was looking for a long time a room to rent, just a room to rent for him as a single person. And it's very hard to find anything. And he found on the end the room, and the price what they told him for a room to rent in Taunton here, which is not really big town on the south of England. Can you imagine? Can you imagine how much? I will tell you how much. For single small room, they expect of him to pay £680 monthly. Completely ridiculous. This is one example for room. The prices, if you want to give you some more examples, the prices are very high for flats, for 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom. The conditions of these buildings here in Taunton are very bad. And one thing what I like to say, as Dr. Dermot already said, we were walking and we see many things. I showed him, for example, close to my home is big new building, very high, with many, I think is about 20 floors. Brand new, comfortable, big rooms with a social place to play games inside, with garage for cars, with restaurant, with coffee shop. All of them is entry only for owners who is renting that. And who is the owners of that? Very rich people. And the very rich people sold the flats for who? Not for young people, not for young families who is looking for flat, for old people who has already pension. The old people living there paying pension and living there with the cover, and young people unemployed living on the way, on the roads, as we see today. They are sleeping on the sleeping bags, sometimes even not on the floor, on the pavements in my town. And old people, which have a pension, rich old people, living in comfortable, big flats, new, branch new. That's the politic, that's the way how is here in capitalist UK. Another thing, what I won't mention now, we were walking and we seen so-called riverside. 3 years ago, council uh, renovate very good place close to river, prepare places for local business to run, shops, comfortable, very nice. Until now, it's gonna be over 3 years. They are empty, staying empty. Why? Because local business cannot afford the rent to pay to rent it for run business. So that's how is the policy of council. Council spend millions pounds to build up the buildings around with shops center which staying empty until today. That's how looks economy of UK, because they cannot afford. We can observing here in my town in Taunton, many shops been already shut down, with pubs, with shops. Wilco big shop been shut many years ago. Um, Other shops are bankrupt because they cannot afford the pay of the rent, energy, electric, water, utilities. They cannot afford the prices. That's how we looks disaster, economic disaster in UK, which is example in my town, which we see today together walking.
Yes. I mean, also when we were walking, saw a homeless person in a sleeping bag in a shop doorway, and the weather here is quite cold. I mean, it was about 4 centigrade this morning and raining, and this person was on a cold floor in this kind of weather. In all my visits to the DPRK, every single visit I've made to the DPRK, I can honestly say I've never seen a homeless person sleeping in a shop doorway. That's a fact. And with the DPRK, you will not see, like we saw in Taunton, empty commercial buildings, because the DPRK has a socialist planned economy. We hear so much blather about the market economy, about capitalism, but they they do not tell you that it's actually capitalist economy creates a lot of waste, a lot of inefficiency. You do get like empty buildings like we saw today because they're all people can't afford the rent or it's not profitable to use them. And it means that materials have been and labour have been wasted in constructing those buildings. Whereas the DPRK, it's a socialist planned economy where everything can be planned to meet the needs of the people and where production is for use. And that's the crucial difference between Duce socialism and capitalism in whatever country it's in. And I would also add, on my long journey here, which was virtually 6 hours, in fact, passed through Bristol in fading light, and Bristol seemed all full of rundown buildings, also closed shops, and a massive amount of graffiti on buildings. It looked really run down, and again, that is something you don't see in people's career. You do not see graffiti or vandalism, and it's a very clean country. Anyway, is there anything else you'd like to say about Taunton and the relationship between People's Career and KFA West of England, Alan?
Well, I don't want to say anything more about Taunton because Taunton is the one of the many pictures in UK town which are worse and worse. That is global here, global scale. Uh, to say about economy, planet economy, this is completely contradictions or is opposite to as the liberal idiots saying everything must be regulated, controlled by invisible hands of market. It doesn't exist something like that. And this is the reason why we have barbarism now, capitalist barbarism, with prices, with poor people, with starvation. This is the reason, because they're giving everything to barbarism, to invisible hand of market. How they saying that? Liberal idiots. Economy cannot be left for invisible hand of market. Economy is important to all society to create God's well-being, to create daily life, to with many factors, connections with society, with simple people, simple person, simple working class member. It cannot be given as a house to create whatever they want. To compare it to People's Korea, in People's Korea, socialist economy is planned. Even prices are as a factor which cannot be left to not integrate, to not control, because prices are social categories, social factor which have to be controlled and planned. Not like here in UK, which is completely not. You're going to one shop, you're paying for something £2. You're going to other shop, you pay for the same product £5. You are on airport, you pay for mineral water £5 and normal shop £1. Is that all right? It's not. In DPOK, that things doesn't exist. One price, affordable price for all people. That's what is, because price, for example, as an economic category, is social category, not only economic category. That's the difference between.
Yes, thanks very much, Alan. And just one quick question I'm going to ask you about Taunton out of interest. Is there a food bank in Taunton?
I heard there is food bank because in the town center, the people, unemployed people going very often groups on the afternoon. There is food bank, yes.
That's an interesting fact, because all the time the enemies of the DPRK, the bourgeoisie and imperialists, always say, "Ooh, but everyone's starving there." You know, I saw it even yesterday in a hostile comment on Facebook. But it's actually in Britain where, you know, you've got people starving, and they've got you know, food banks for poor people. Poor people.
It's not only the place when the people, because maybe not every, but the bigger markets here like Sainsbury had a basket when people leaving food products for poor people. So where is that going to? Probably as a fundraising to unemployed shelter people. But it shows you how the condition is of the society, because in normal society the things wouldn't be exist.
Yeah, and the whole thing about Taunton is it's actually meant to be a prosperous town.
This is on the picture.
It's not like a rundown London borough. It's not like supposedly it's not like some of the northern or Midlands towns. It's supposedly the prosperous southwest or west of England. But you know what I've seen today, it's not really.
This is only picture which is create for the reasons for public official, the create town as a good place to work, good place to live, which has nothing to reality because it's getting worse.
Yeah. So I mean, what would you, in general, like to say about the propaganda about against people's career and how people's career is demonised, Alan? What thoughts would you like to share on that?
Well, people's Korea, as is the picture, the true picture is demonized every on industrial scale, 24 hours. So we doing as we can. We have to do what we can do, but we cannot be army of 1,000 people who is controlling the what publishing the West propaganda media, and they publishing a lot false fakes lies about the POK. So the task for us is to defend people's Korea as we can, which is difficult sometimes, and really, because how many times you can debunk the same lies that in people's Korea is no lie, the people starving, how many times you have to prove and giving the same picture which is true from DPOK to contra for them who is lying. But we have to do it, and it's really annoying sometimes that some of the lies are very old and still come back, still back the same, still back the same.
Well, it reminds me of the comedian. I forget which comedian it was once said, "Oh, the old ones are the best," and also the infamous so-called Minister of Information of Nazi Germany, Joseph Goebbels, said, "If you repeat a lie enough times, people will believe it. People will accept it as a truth." And this is what they do about people's career. And I think one thing to talk about tonight is the fake news about the DPRK's role or imaginary role in Ukraine. And you're looking at the Western media and even looking at the British Foreign Office, a lot of people work themselves into a state of hysteria about imaginary DPRK troops supposedly fighting in in Ukraine. And I even got told off by Radio Free Asia, those merchants of lies, who lie all the time, and which is actually a US government-funded propaganda station. I mean, it was set up with the sole purpose of actually destroying socialist and anti-imperialist countries in Asia. And it's an interesting fact that the European counterparts of Radio Free Asia, Radio Free Europe, actually had Nazis working for it. And I imagine the Radio Free Asia staff are probably Orientalists and anti-Asian racists who work for the station. But anyway, they got quite annoyed because we had circulated a picture which to all intents and purposes had been altered, showing someone with 6 fingers, and they tried to deny this, but no real evidence has been produced for KPA troops being in Ukraine. It's all fake. The pictures they show of supposedly captured KPA troops are probably ethnic Russians I'm sorry, not ethnic Russians, ethnic Koreans who live in Russia.
And also Mongolian with the features of face which are Asian.
Yeah, and some other nationalities who are fighting.
Yakuts, Mongolian soldiers which are in Russian army been taken as a Korean because they have Asian face.
Yeah,
And make of them DPRK soldiers. So
I mean,
that's what it is.
one picture showed someone with a moustache, and
Mm.
moustaches are not worn by people under the age of 60 or 70 in the DPRK. It's seen as not the thing to do to grow a moustache in the DPRK if you're young. But you know, one of these pictures showed someone with a moustache, and it's all fake news. And I actually saw from a Russian source that said, yes, there is a very comprehensive strategic partnership agreement between the DPRK and Russia, the Russian Federation, which includes a clause saying that if Russia is attacked, then Russia can call upon the DPRK to send military assistance. However, the important fact is Russia has not invoked that clause of the treaty. And also, anyway, the DPRK has never at any point in its history sent large numbers of troops outside its borders. It has only sent limited numbers of like experts, technicians, in some cases, pilots or artillery troops or special forces abroad. It's never sent
100,000.
15,000 or even 100,000. Yes, that's right, Alan. They were talking
We
about
don't know even because
100.
every West media are saying different. One of them saying 100,000, another 50,000. So okay, you can see how is that shows the information about troops. How is how which we how is how is that information is valuable if you compare it to pure concrete information. Information should be concrete, one for all the media. 100 is 100, 50,000 is 50, and every West agency is saying different. One is saying 50,000, another no, 10,000, another 100,000. So where is the truth? That shows you that is fake.
Yeah, that's right. The fact they cannot produce a consistent number.
Yeah,
That
it's not.
it's always a different number. It shows they're making it up, and it reminds me what someone once said about journalists, that the secret motto of a Western journalist or bourgeois journalist is make it short, make it snappy, make it up. You know, they
Yeah,
are
and write
liars.
what is the order for. Yeah,
Yeah,
write what they're giving the money for. They're writing the lies for order. They have an order. If they saying you must write like that, and he is writing like that. They have
yeah.
no own opinion, free opinion. There is some is coming from different. The topic about what must be right, what must be published in West media is coming from other people than from the author. That's the difference.
That's right. I mean, we hear a lot about freedom of speech and free media in the West, but in reality, it's very tightly controlled. And any journalist who wrote an article that went against the narrative that was being dictated would actually lose their job. They would never work in the mainstream media again. That's the fact. And these days, there's fewer and fewer independent journalists. Very few, because most are very cowardly and self-centered. And just are concerned only about making money. therefore they're happy to lie. Of independent press, I would just mention Covert Action magazine, which I sometimes write for, which was founded by a very brave and principled American, Philip Agee, who'd actually been a CIA agent for a long part of his life, but left the CIA, was totally disgusted with what they did, and in the end went to Cuba, because he was only safe in Cuba. And that he founded Covert Action magazine, which contains many exposés of what's going on. And I believe there's also the grey zone, but I don't know too much about that. But anyway, getting back to KFA and our focus in defending people's career with no ifs or buts, we, like you said, we aim to try and build up regional branches. It's something we're committed to. We don't want everything to happen in London. So as Alan said, we're probably at some point try to organise a meeting for the West of England in Bristol, and planning to go up to Scotland in May, where we're planning 2 meetings in Scotland, one in Edinburgh and one in Glasgow. We're planning them in May to give, so we can get these organised quite well in advance, so it's not a last minute thing. And hopefully we'll have another meeting in Liverpool, which was a great place to have a meeting. And also our Staffordshire branch might organise a meeting. I hope they will. And I'd also mustn't forget a Shropshire branch is being started. They're on Twitter, they're on Instagram. So if you're listening to this stream, you're watching this stream, I should say, and you live in Shropshire, please, look in on them and join the Shropshire branch. And again, if there's nothing to stop people setting up branches in their localities and their regions. Just contact us. We can send you our 20 myths about the DPRK leaflet. And again, if you're at a university, why not set up a branch at your university? That would be a great thing, and hand out leaflets at the university. And just one more thing, because what we do, we conclude soon. Soon, and then start taking questions from the chat. But one thing I was thinking about the other days, some silly person put a comment about there'd been an elite in the DPRK, which of course is not true. There's no elite in the DPRK. It's actually one of the most egalitarian societies I've actually seen. Income differentials are about 2 to 1. All officials have to do 1 day of manual work per week on a Friday. But the irony of it is those people who are making up these stories about, oh, there's an elite in the DPRK, are actually from the elite in the USA, in Britain, in Europe and other countries. They're actually from the elite, from very privileged backgrounds. They've been to private schools. They've got salaries of about 50k, 100k, 200k, and they and shopping in Waitrose, and they're going on saying about the elite in the DPRK. They don't know what they're talking about, and of course it is a purposeful lie. And before we stop talking, both myself and in fact Alan is really behind this. There's going to be an international online conference that will be recorded organised by Radio Belarus, and I'll let Alan say a lot about it because it's his project.
Yes, it's the first time Radio Belarus, International Radio Belarus, is an organized conference tomorrow, international conference, on the subject Democratic People's Republic of Korea as a leader of anti-imperialist struggle and also advocates of the world peace. And that conference will be recorded tomorrow, but will be published later on. I don't know, it's usually about 2 weeks, expecting of the technical things of them to recording, to assemble everything. That conference will be in English language, which will be recorded in English language with questions, with lecture, presentations, about 2 hours, I think. That's the limit of the time. And that conference, in this conference, going to take a part many friends, supporters of all the branches of Koran Friendship Association, with president of Koran Friendship Association, Comrade Alejandro Caudebenos from Spain. He's gonna take a part of this conference too with us, and I think this is quite interesting initiative because it's gonna show on the Europe the picture of the DPRK, how the DPRK in the history and current time is engaged with anti-imperialist struggle and big leader of initiative of the world peace, of the steadfast, of the herald of the world peace. And that's gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna to be tomorrow, that conference, and I think it's going to be published about 2 weeks on International Radio Belarus, which you can find on YouTube channel. If you type it in Radio Belarus on YouTube channel, you can find very easy them, and you can find our conference, which will be tomorrow. So it is first initiative, very great initiative of Radio Belarus, and showing also that Belarus as a country is closer and closer with friendship and support, mutual relation, friendly relation with Democratic People Republic of Korea. Big international initiative. If that will be success, we have plans more cooperative Korean Friendship Association UK with Radio Belarus in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alan, for outlining that. Okay, well, we stop talking now, except to answer your questions. So please fire away with your questions, and we will try to answer them. And just look if there's any questions here.
There wasn't any questions.
Lots of comments. What have you thought about Regno? Well, I've only just heard about Regno. A lot of people are speaking about it. I'm gonna have to admit that is something I'm gonna have to check out. I mean, I'm not a TikTok fan. I have a TikTok account, but don't use it because I'm on so many different social media apps, you know, Telegram, Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, you know. If I start paying attention to them all, I would not sleep at night. But yeah, I mean, we can check out Regno, see what else. So abuse culture is promoted in non-socialist societies so that workers don't question the authority of bosses. Well, I think that's very true. We both agree that's true. Slimy Park.
Don't know what's the, not really understand if that question is about I'm not really understand what is about that question. So what you like to ask?
Right.
Can you post that radio name on here? Yes, we can post, but the problem is you don't have Polish type words.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think the best thing once they produce the video
yes, we will
of
publish that.
we will release it through
Release to.
Facebook and Telegram and Twitter, and
I
then
think if you typing radio Belarus, like is the country state Belarus, you can easily find on the YouTube. There is plenty of broadcasts, include mine about Juche idea, but this is in Polish language. That conference will be in English.
yes, I mean, with the comment from urban educators, I mean, I agree with that. China should look to the organic socialist construction in the DPRK
Um,
instead of relying on foreign capital like they have done for years.
could you say that Belarus to be a kind of socialist country? In my opinion, is because Belarus as a country is going a very similar way, like the PRK own way, is develop and building Belarusian style of socialism. For example, in economy of Belarusian economy, the mostly is a state ownership. The private sector is very small, and the private sector working under control and for state for society. And that trend is growing up. Belarus is produced on self-sufficient way and self-economy similar to DPRK, which is very good similar economy in the socialist planet economy to DPRK. Many products producing buses, producing big vans, producing cars, electric cars together with China, and many things. And agriculture grows very rapidly. I can talk about Belarus a long time, which we don't have time for that. But for this question, answer yes. This is kind of socialism, which is Belarusian socialist way, and the country is growing up more and more and is stronger. And is part of so-called collective East, which is opposite to West, and in the international era, which is good in this
It is,
side.
I mean, certainly Belarus is certainly anti-imperialist and
Yes.
independent, and it's promoting Slavic culture, and
Mhm.
it's rejecting to some extent
Yes, natural values,
where
ethnical, morality, no
Western,
stuff like I can't say the name because they can blog us, like
yeah,
for
yeah,
L, and no
yeah,
stuff like that. No, they promote natural, traditional model of family, and social welfare is very big. For example, a pregnant woman has 3 years of maternity, 80% of pay. The housing is built up, developing very
yeah.
well. And the last time, from the news from Belarusian, President Lukashenko set up a new supply for Minsk, capital of Belarus, for water, which is not supply from sewage like here in UK, but is taking from underground.
Yeah.
So the well-being, the conditions for working people in Belarus as a socialist planet economy is growing up rapidly and going very well.
Right. Okay. Next, how does the DPRK deal with dangerous work like that of underground miners and roofers? Do they have less working hours? Can they retire early? Do they get paid more than workers with safer work? Well, I don't know about roofers in the DPRK, but certainly miners and people working in
6 hours.
blast furnaces, they work for less hours, 6 or 7 hours. They get extra holidays. They're given extra holidays and higher rates of pay, and also special healthcare checkups. as well. So they get all these extra things as well. And they say, yeah, their working hours are less than people in non-dangerous trades or non-heavy. Hello, Alan and Dermot. Actually, right. USA banned the women's team from participating in the tournament in Pyongyang. How do you both see this? Isn't this clear who is a prohibitionist and a fascist? Yeah, I mean, agree. I mean, the US are the biggest hypocrites because all the time they're saying that the DPRK is not free. They need to do this. They need to do that. But when the chips are down, it's the US who are banning things. The US actually banned their own citizens from traveling to the DPRK and also banned DPRK citizens from entering the US. So, yeah, I mean, the US are the greatest fascists.
Is it true that Lukashenko claimed to be dictator, or was the slander true, Dmitry? Well, it's the same kind of slanders like about Kim Jong-un and Kim Il-sung, the leaders of the POK. I would say simple things. If that kind of dictator would be on the most of the countries of the Europe would, you can see Europe different. They will look different. This is dictatorship of freedom and democracy, and I wish that dictatorship for the countries which are in the capitalism now. That I look much different. So if you're saying dictatorship, dictator, that have a look how big job did Lukashenko since he get the power as a president. If not Lukashenko, Belarus look different, and who knows, maybe look like Poland or different countries after collapse the socialist system, which go on the capitalist way. Lukashenko saved Belarus and developed Belarus in different way, opposite, in socialist way. This is big achievements of Lukashenko.
He developed in an independent way.
And how can you call dictator for him? All of the things, the stories about his dictator, there is no freedom, no opposition, this is not true. For example, now we're going to be election soon of president. There is more than, I think, is about 20 candidates. But the difference between the opposition is they accept opposition who want to work for the goodness of the country, for good of the developed country. They cannot be agree to people who want to destroy and damage the country. And that people who want to destroy and damage country in Belarus running away and saying, oh, there is no freedom because we had to run away. Lukashenko never let to go anybody to election, never let to be as a candidate to opposition, which the opposition going to be not work for well-being the country, but destroy the country. This is what they don't understand in West media. They're saying dictatorship because doesn't let to go for election the people. They don't want this kind of people because they are criminals, bandits, which are being proved already in Belarusian television. They're showing programs about them, how they catch them for terrorist acts or acts trying to destabilize the country with social life and political life. That's why he's dictator, because they don't let to do it him. The better picture is, do you remember Lukashenko with Kalashnikov being defended when was the trying the revolution on Maidan? This is president who care about his country, take gun and trying to defend by act. Who will do that in USA? Biden will run away to Florida and hide.
Yeah.
For example.
Yeah, I mean, what they want to do in Belarus is what they want is a color revolution. That's what the imperialists want. Like in Ukraine, which gave rise to, first of all, a millionaire who made his money from chocolate, and then a clown, Zelensky, and they want to do the same thing in Belarus to organize a color revolution and put a puppet regime in power in Belarus, and like you've also got in the Baltic states, you've got like fascist type regimes in Lithuania and Estonia and Latvia. They're all fascist type regimes and NATO puppets. Anyway, there's some more questions. Just try and find them. Oops.
Not too close there.
Right, is it true? We've seen that.
This question.
Do Koreans learn Hegel's part? I mean, dialectical materialism is taught at Kim Il Sung University at the Faculty of Philosophy. I can't really answer about Hegel. I'm sure there's reference to Hegel, but I doubt. Probably do have to read Hegel, but I haven't seen the syllabus for the course, so it's hard to answer. But yeah, I mean, the DPRK does make reference to dialectical materialism, and Chairman Kim Jong-il pointed out that the Juche idea does take dialectical materialism as a premise. It doesn't actually reject it. Right. He's Lukashenko is better than Starmer, Macron, Schultz, Zelensky, Sweeney, etc.
It's not only better; it's different.
And
it's normal. He was working in agriculture farm, and as a normal worker, as a normal peasant from this class origin. He is from working class, and he know people. He know working class.
I'd also say better than Sleepy Joe and the Donald, who's just I imagine he's probably having a great big banquet now, old Trump. Dermot, you recently wrote a very nice article about Nazim Hikmet's birthday. You mentioned Nazim's poetry in your article. What does Alan think about your article? He also writes poetry. And then how does Comrade Alan evaluate Nazim's poems for the DPRK?
I didn't ever read any Nazim's poems for DPOK. I need to say clearly. So I'm not really understand the questions. About that article is very good article, but I don't remember that in my poetry, which is not very big poetry poems when I have about DPOK, there was anything about Nazis.
No, Nazim, that's the name.
Nazim.
Nazim.
Oh, well, I haven't been focused because so many things, so I cannot say my opinion about this. I just, during my assembling on the People's Scholar today, as I am correcting the text, I've been read that article. It's great article, but it's very hard to say something closer because in my by my mind is every day thousand articles. So I would have to you would have to give me time to prepare writing opinion about this article and present to you. I cannot do that by 5 minutes because I will have to read that and focus more than usually I'm doing with all the articles. I'm sorry.
Right. The West does not admire diligent leaders. That is true. Okay. Any more questions? Because we've probably run for another 5 or 10 minutes. But if there's more questions, we stay here. Sometimes the chat is slow. It lags behind the rest of the video.
Yeah. Well, I cannot say much about this. I'm sorry because, as I said, that's what I remember when I was assembling People's Scholar today. It's great article, but I don't have any intention to evaluate this article because this is the Dr. Dermot article. So if I write any poetry poem, that will be different. That will be mine, and Dr. Dermot is writing his article, which is joining together. We joining work together, poetry articles to People Scholar Today together. But always you can read on the end who is the author. So we had in past there is book there is there is about Juche idea which we did together. This is ours together, Joe.
Yes.
Juche philosophy study course. So Dr. Dermot was the author of this all of the lecture. I did the graphics, and I think there is also one or two things add by me with the graphics about the method of training. This is mine, the table of the book, and of the style of the book. Everything is my job. So this is the joining job. This is the hours book, Juche philosophy study guide. Yeah, that's what it is. And in People Scholar Today, as you can see, when his article always on the end is the giving the author separate. I don't remember. We have together articles in People's Scholar. Everyone is writing differently.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we might write another book together like we did with that one.
But the plans are, I writing book about Juche philosophy, but everything is about time because
yes,
except of the writing, I have to work normally for money to live, and it's very hard. Yeah, as you know.
are there any KFA groups in Ukraine today? Well, the answer was someone tried to form a KFA branch in Ukraine, but apparently got threatened or were afraid they were going to go to jail. So, after a very short period, they closed it down. I mean, there are other pro DPRK groups in Ukraine. There was a Ukraine Sword of Songam Association, and I think several other groups. And in fact, if you look on the newly updated and redesigned website, the Korean Association of Social Scientists, you will see a speech by a Ukrainian on it. So, I mean, there are there are people who support the DPRK in Ukraine, but we don't know what's happened to them. Ukraine is a fascist country. It's a Nazi type state. People are being repressed. I've heard stories of communists getting 10 or 15-year prison sentence is in Ukraine, which is very bad. I mean, in fact, Ukraine's very similar to South Korea, where communists can be jailed. It's a horrendous regime, and I would like to see the end of Ukrainian fascism. Ideally, but it's just an ideal. I would like to see the old Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic back as part of a restored Soviet Union. But probably that may be a bit of a utopian wish. I don't know. But certainly the rights of the peoples of the Donbass, of the two anti-fascist People's Republics, should be secured, and also Crimea should be in Russian hands. But anyway, it's just.
They're asking which book was that. There is
Well,
Juche philosophy.
Juche philosophy, a guide. I mean, I can try and actually in a minute actually put a link in the chat. China is not the enemy, but it doesn't mean. Yeah, I mean, I agree with.
I'm agree too.
I mean, I agree with that
Yeah.
that comment from urban educators.
I'm agree 100%.
And yeah, I think I've also seen a video in which
Yes.
Ukrainians either
It's
destroy
very
or
sad. Yeah.
desecrate
But
monuments.
not only Ukraine. In Poland, they do the same. Polish government doing all the time. There are many monuments after which been after victory on Second War, monuments for Russian army, for Red Army, been destroyed
Yes.
in Poland. So not only Ukraine.
Yeah. Right. Comrade Ben from Sutton, please comment on the presence or lack of paedophilia in the DPRK. We have news of grooming gangs, and we know that our ruling class promotes in Britain. I can't imagine such an evil in the DPRK. Well, I mean, you're totally right, Ben. I've never heard of any cases of paedophilia in the DPRK. The DPRK encourages a healthy and wholesome environment. I mean, I believe things like paedophilia are rooted in the massive decadence of late capitalism. And we've seen an explosion in the last 40, 50 years of pornography, which are in the West, which I think is warping people's minds, and it's worse than it was 20 years ago. You know, when I was growing up, you know, I used to be going to newsagent shop, and all what we called the dirty magazines, pornography, was on like the top shelf. But now it's on the TV, it's on the internet. There's even special internet sites for pornography, and this is saturating society. And I've never seen pornography in the DPRK at all. It doesn't exist in the DPRK. And similarly, most films in the DPRK do not have sexual references at all, or even if there are, they are usually very, very minimal, and they're alluded to rather than being directly mentioned. And you know, I think this is one of the reasons, and of course, you know, also I think so paedophilia reflects the deeply exploitative nature of capitalist society.
Rooted capitalist society,
Yeah,
decadence. That's what it is. That's the reasons, the premises. Um, the reason for Russia attacking UK because they were. Yeah, there is more reasons. Uh, well, we know there is the big discussion about the why Russia. Firstly, Russia not attacking Ukraine, Russia defending them interest on international scale and saving Europe from Nazis. This is the first. That's what happened there. Why Russia involved? That happened not 2021. Yeah, it is the 21 Ukraine. Yeah, but it happened since it was since 2014 or even earlier. How many times Ukraine broken the promises and been attacking, bombarding kindergartens, killing kids and children in Donbass or Lugansk area, where the population is over 90% of Russia. They hate Russia. That should not be like that. Russia had to step up because it was enough. The another reason, there is many reasons. Another reason, for example, was expanded the NATO bases. The West promised to Russia there was agreement they do not do it, and they did. So
yeah, that's right.
there is more reason about this.
Yeah, I mean,
for example, that's a couple examples why Russia had to step up and sort it out this.
yeah,
Because if not, who knows? There will be worse than the Nazism was expanded more and more.
yeah, yeah. I mean, also, I just sort of backtrack to the earlier point about our question about paedophilia. And I would also say, even if it did exist, it would be severely punished by maximum sentence of re-education through hard labour, or even the death penalty. It would be dealt with. You know, it's not like Britain where you had paedophiles amongst the media. And isn't it funny, the BBC that is always attacking the DPRK virtually every day. BBC is a haven for paedophiles and sexual predators. For years, they had the scandal of Jimmy Savile, and they knew what was going on. They really knew what was going on, and they shut their eyes to it. Then you had Hugh Edwards, another one, and you wonder how many more there are hiding in the BBC and in the ruling class. Now, just look at South Korea does have Hitler bars. I mean, South Korea is a fascist state, and recently the so-called president, the puppet ruler, tried to declare martial law, but was reined in by the Americans because they thought it wasn't their interests, and it is a fascist state.
Russia is fighting NATO, not Ukraine. Yes, that's true. Where normal Ukrainian people are fine. The problem is with banderism.
Yeah.
Banderist fascism grow up in Ukraine, which was the healthy country before. Soviet Union built up and developed that country, and after the revolution, what happened in the Ukraine when Zelensky take the power, there was a new ideology imprinted to this society, Nazism, fascism ideology, Zelensky ideology, which the premises are Hitler and Nazism. Yeah. That's the problem. So I would say NATO, yes, they're fighting with NATO, but they're fighting with boundaries, with fascism on international scale, which will grow up in Ukraine.
Yeah, okay. I'm just reading the comments from urban educators are often engaged in predatory foreign wars and massive exploitation of labour. However, when we speak of DPRK's socialist construction, we must pay attention to decades-long efforts and unity of policy and actual political work dedicated to the people without an exploitation. That's why we must look up to the DPRK, real political work by the people. I mean, that is very true. DPRK always puts political work ahead of all other work. And we've just been watching DPRK TV last night and today, and you'll see agitation teams going into cement works and on street corners and other
politic fires, that's
waving red flags to stimulate people. Yes, indeed. It is the British Brainwashing Corporation. Okay. Yes, churches are full of paedophiles.
Ukraine mess, Donbass. Yeah, it's not only Donbass and Crimea; it's also Lugansk region, which are population are mostly Russian. Ukraine been bombarding them many years, attacking them, poking them, conflict to them. They want to live in peace with friendly relation with Russia, and they want to take this power because that region is very rich with sources. There is industrial complex, very very big after Soviet Union, coal mines, iron style industries, and this is very rich region in the sense of economic power. And Ukraine want to take it for them. That's one of the reasons of the mess in Ukraine.
Yes. Yes, of course. Okay. Maybe we take 3 more questions and then we close it. I think we've been doing very well tonight. We'll just see if we get any more questions. Well, I mean, again, we're spending a lot of time speaking about non-DPRK topics like Ukraine and Belarus, particularly Ukraine. That's yeah, I mean, you can argue it dates back to the Maidan coup in 2014. I mean, I personally think it goes right back to the breakup of the
Yes.
Soviet Union in 1991, and it's a consequence of the breakup
Exactly.
of
It's
the
not like West media showing you.
Soviet Union. You can
No.
even argue that it was rooted in perestroika, where Gorbachev actually undermined the leadership of the CPSU in Ukraine, because it was actually opposed to reform and perestroika, and he undermined that leadership and encouraged Ukrainian nationalism. And in fact, Ukrainian nationalism was first fanned by the Nazis, by the Nazis with Stefan Bandera, and after Second World War by the CIA, who funded Ukrainian nationalist organizations who parachuted agents into the Ukraine.
You just mentioned the bandit and criminal Stefan Bandera. I like to say that actual in Poland, Polish government is had decision to build up monuments for him.
Yes, again, that's a big
disgusting, absolutely disgusting. Criminal who murdered, who killed so many Polish, who know the Polish history that we know when I'm talking about, Polish people. Thousands, some sources saying there was about 500,000 Polish people killed by Stefan Bandera, and Polish stupid government is had decision to build up monuments for him.
Right, okay. Well, we take the last few questions. I think you've asked this before. Will you work in a joint book with Alan in the future? Well, quite possibly we will. But Alan is writing a book at the moment. I'm also writing a different book. But maybe it's something we can do in the future. Now, this is an important one. Trump claims Kim Jong-un probably misses him, and people here are thinking Trump may want to cozy up to the Supreme Leader again. I don't think this will happen. It's hard to say, but I think quite possibly you're right. If you've seen the speech that Supreme Leader, respected Marshal Kim Jong-un, made in November, he does actually rule it out. He said we did everything we possibly could to negotiate with the US, and nothing came of it. You know, we're not going down that. Basically, said they're not going down that route again. They're going to build the deterrent force. You know, I don't know. Trump is a very unpredictable maverick person. I don't know if he
I
will.
wouldn't believe him because he's saying different and doing different.
Yeah, I don't know whether he will try to offer something to the DPRK to try and tempt them into negotiations. But I think a lot of his attention will be focused on Russia, Ukraine anyway. And
remember that in USA the power is in Wall Street. Not the president is only on outside of officially, but that's who run the country is Wall Street and deep state.
Yeah, that's right. DPRK, unlike ROK or China, decided not to become a component in the exploitative global capitalist economy. Instead, it gets better and better. That is the mark of the DPRK. Yeah, I mean, that's very true. It's not part of the global capitalist economy. It's not part of the IMF, World Bank, WTO, WEF, or anything like that. It's an independent socialist economy, unlike these other countries. And I personally regard the DPRK is probably the only true socialist country in the world, or the most
mostly pure, mostly clean, like fully socialism.
100%.
On the way to communism.
You won't find
no,
that level anywhere else.
Even Belarus is not like that, and I wish to Belarus be like DPRK when it's no private, sector even, which shows you how expanded and how developed is socialism in DPRK on the way now.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't know about this about Ukraine in 2005. Yeah, I agree with Greg and Macintosh. I don't think
Me too.
I don't think Trump was missed. Not one nuke was dismantled during and after the summits. That's very true, and also not one ICBM. Was the establishment of first permanent operational nuclear power plant included in the 2021? If not, yeah, I mean, in the current plan, that's the 21 to 25 plan, there are plans to build nuclear power plants, but I haven't seen any information on whether they've gone into operation. Of course, it's obvious. I think it's something that DPRK might keep under wraps, because I think if they announced, "Oh, we just put a nuclear power station online," there'd be a furore. The imperialists would say, "Oh, it's for weapons." They'd be wanting to bomb it, and also, as Ben knows, certain people in the West would say, "Oh, nuclear power, how terrible! Oh, those North Koreans, they shouldn't be building nuclear power stations. Oh, naughty, naughty, terrible."
They're saying that already in Belarus. Belarus is planning to build up a second power plant, and that one exists already in Ignalin. I think there is Ignalin. There is the Estonian government and what government saying when was the time when the process of build up, this is danger for us, they're gonna explode. Now they don't have a cheap power, they don't have cheap electricity, and Belarus has cheap electricity because of the power is working very well, and they're going to plan another one. So it shows it's completely nonsense. So the claims of them.
Yeah, but to use a name, I mean, I'll just say I'm not a specialist on Ukraine. My specialism is the DPRK. All I do know about Ukraine is that communists are getting put in jail for 10 to 15 years there, and are also being beaten up and tortured. And it's the case of the, if I pronounce it right, the Konovish brothers. Two brothers who are young Ukrainian communists who've been arrested and tortured, and also the Ukrainian fascists even tortured to death the independent US journalist Gonzalo Lira as well. I mean, that's what I do know about Ukraine, and that ordinary Ukrainian working people, ordinary trade unionists, were killed in the Odessa trade union house fire in 2014. That's what I know about Ukraine, and I don't know anything about whether there was a plan to divide Ukraine into different republics.
I heard something about that. I
can't
prove
know,
that.
But it's a little bit off the top of our topic. I mean, this is really this is really about DPRK and about KFA, UK, and about KFA West of England. And all I'm saying in conclusion is that we're going to work hard to build KFA UK this year. We certainly try to have more meetings, try to hold different regional meetings, and step up and intensify our efforts to defend people's career with no ifs or buts. I don't know if you want to say anything else, Alan.
Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much to join us on this live stream. Like Dr. Dermot already said, we will try best as we can to defend people's career with you, because with you we cannot do nothing. And we're planning lots of new activities in this year. and soon will be annual general meeting, which we're gonna say a bit of how is the ways to develop our organization.
Yes, thank you, Alan. Yes, and
Thank you
thank
very much.
everybody for being here tonight with their questions and for their support. We hope it will continue and to grow.
Greetings, KFA Yorkshire. Thank you very much. Thank you to join us today. Thank you to nice to see you with us today.
Yes, I think it's been great. So we say good night
Turkey.
to everyone
Thank
and
you.
wish everybody a good evening. Thank you very much. Goodbye.